time to discuss transfers once again, and this window has been, particularly very interesting because of the speed at which clubs are, looking to do their business. The Club World Cup is also adding, some increased urgency in transfers, and we'll be talking about the Club World Cup in a separate video. But for now, it's time to talk about transfers. And first off, Victor, we've got Arsenal once again. I don't know if Arsenal are actually, if they actually signed an underground contract with Chelsea to sign some of their, deadwood players or whatnot. But the latest is that Arsenal are closing in on a 5 million deal for Kepa, coming in to be Raya's backup. Taking all factors into account, do you think Arsenal need another goalkeeper of Kepa's quality, and can this even be considered a good deal?
I mean, for £5 million, there's not that much cause for complaint, but here goes from me. Get a striker, people, a bloody striker, someone who can put the ball in the onion bag. That's what you need, not another goddamned goalkeeper. Um, in all
Exactly.
seriousness, yes, it's fine as long as Kepa understands he's there as backup. Raya will still be the go-to goalie for Premier League games, for Champions League games, at least the ones that matter. But yeah, overall for 5 mil, you can't really complain too much.
Yeah, fair enough. I had the same sentiments too. For 5 million, someone that has Premier League experience is even good enough to be, the number one for another side. So I think it's not that bad, but there's just a bad
Yeah.
air around it because Chelsea players coming to Arsenal have not really done well over the past couple years. So, but yeah, let's see. And moving on to Chelsea, actually, this one's for you, Max. So Chelsea are set to include further add-ons, in part of their negotiations with Dortmund for Gittens. They saw their initial £29.5 million deal rejected, and they want to go, for an improved bid. In your opinion, do you think Chelsea need this kind of player for a squad upgrade? Does he improve their squad in any way?
Man, I mean, this is almost like the Arsenal goals. They signed two not really good strikers for 60 million totals, but they could have signed pretty good striker probably, like Mbeumo, who's going to United for around the same money, or Gyökeres. So you're not signing top tier strikers. So what are you going to do? This is definitely not an upgrade for Jackson. So I don't think this can go well.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And moving on away from players for a minute and moving to Spurs and not London. Tottenham are looking towards Brentford's Thomas Frank, as a replacement for Ange Postecoglou, who was, sacked days ago. I remember in some couple videos before the Europa League final, I remember we were debating whether or not, Ange was going to be sacked. And I think I can't remember who exactly said it, whether it was Victor or Max, that even if, Spurs do win the Europa League, he might still get sacked. I can't remember who said it exactly. And now that has actually happened. Or do you think Thomas Frank is a good choice, Victor, as a replacement?
I mean, it's got to be seen as ironic, right? The winner sacks their coach, the loser keeps him. It's a weird world, right?
Yeah.
As for Thomas Frank, I think yeah, Spurs would be getting a great coach, but I'm not sure Frank would be getting a great club. Uh, just like when I said he should replace Amorim at United, he needs to
Mm,
be wary that what a stint for either of these clubs might do to his reputation. He's seen as one of the better, if not one of the best coaches in the division, especially in that slightly
category.
lower tier under the big boys, right?
Yeah.
Overall, I'm excited to see it happen because I like him as a coach. I admire him, and I am looking forward to see what he can do for a supposedly bigger club. But I just hope he doesn't crash and burn because of the way Spurs is run.
Yeah, fair enough. That's just you got the words, right out of my mind. But let's see if that, in my opinion, I don't think it can be any worse than what Ange did. I don't think Thomas Frank in charge of Spurs will finish, 16th or 17th in the league. So anyways, onward and upward. And moving on to Manchester City, Max. now they've, City have, started the spending spree right from January. They've been signing players and they don't seem to care about the 115 charges. If anything, they are even signing more players since the charges. But the question is now they are pushing out to sign Livramento ahead of the Club World Cup. Considering all the players, they've signed Reinders and whatnot, and Aït-Nouri as well. Do you think City are going on an unnecessary spending spree?
I think this is the reason, because they really want to win a trophy this season, and probably this is the only way for them to go Club World Cup. So they definitely should sign everybody right now. And obviously, when you have only one right back, and this is Rico Lewis, yeah, and he's still so young, and he's not. I mean, he's good, but not that good that Pep wants in his team, probably. So you definitely should sign him right now before the Club World Cup starts.
If
Yeah,
I may
fair enough.
ask, though, okay, if they win the Club World Cup, is it going to be one of those situations that if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it? Because, I mean, sure, it would be a trophy, but come on.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth much, to be honest. I'm bragging, right? I don't think it's much. It's worth more than that, to be honest. But yeah, moving on, and just on a final note, and looking to hear Victor's thoughts on this question. Actually, it is not confirmed yet. There's nothing confirmed, but reports are saying that Liverpool will pay with a salary of £340,000 per week. And this is also coupled with the fact that Liverpool would obviously break their transfer record, to sign Wits in the first place. Victor, in your opinion, is this looking? We know like Liverpool to be very pragmatic spenders in the transfer window, naturally compared to the other big boys, so to say. But is this Wits deal showing some form of desperation from the Reds?
Hmm. I mean, this whole deal was never going to be cheap for any club.
Yeah.
Big talent costs big money, whether
Mhm.
transfer fees, wages, or both. Bayern would probably get away with paying a bit less, at least in wages, because player salaries tend to be lower in Germany than they are in England. But
Yeah.
it would still have been a handsome sum. He wouldn't have been paid peanuts either. According to reports, I think the desperation might rather kick in when negotiating with Leverkusen, not with the player, because they seem to be quite rigid in their valuation of Wirtz. But I'll go ahead and say this. If you're giving a 22-year-old a contract worth £350,000 a week, uh, you need to make sure the contract is at least 6 years, at the very least. And for the love of God, try to not cock it up and lose him on a free transfer to Real or whatever again.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I feel like Liverpool are playing the long-term game here. I think Liverpool are not afraid to splash the cash because, history has shown that when they spend big, it works out well. Allison, Van Dijk, and whatnot. So that by their projections, Liverpool feel like it will be money well spent. But
Exactly. Nobody talks about the transfer fees anymore for Van Dijk, for Alisson. They never were a topic.
yeah, because they've sort of, repaid that transfer fee
Yeah,
and even more. Well, I feel like I don't know, £350 per week from the very onset is on the high side. But yeah, we're just going to have to see how
definitely.
that transfer saga ends up. The only thing we know for now is that Liverpool want Vert and Vert wants Liverpool. How that transfer is going to end, we really don't know. And on that note, that's all we have in this video. And there will be more transfer news to come, obviously, and we'll be here to get on top of it as the updates come.